Beaver stood beside his dam, staring at a single money tree he'd planted years ago. It looked healthy, it looked strong, but one storm could take it all down. What if there was a smarter way to grow your wealth? Today, Beaver discovers why the world's smartest investors don't just plant trees, they grow entire forests. One crisp morning, Rabbit came sprinting down the riverbank, eyes wide and shovel in hand. Beaver, Beaver, I want to start investing. I heard you can grow money trees in the stock market. Beaver smiled patiently. You can, Rabbit, but picking the right tree, that's harder than it looks. Just then, Owl swooped silently from the branches above. Perhaps, Owl said wisely, it's time we showed Rabbit what a real financial forest looks like. The problem with one tree. Rabbit held up his tiny shovel confidently. So I just find the best company, plant my money there, and wait? Owl tilted his head. That can work, but tell me, Rabbit, what happens to your money if that one tree gets struck by lightning? Rabbit's ears slowly drooped. I lose everything? Beaver nodded gravely. Exactly. That's the real danger of putting all your money into a single stock. 2 clearings. Beaver led them deeper into the forest until they reached 2 clearings side by side. In the first stood one enormous, magnificent tree, tall, golden, and gleaming. In the second stood an entire forest, hundreds of trees, different sizes, different types, all growing together. Beaver pointed to the single tree. Imagine this is one company. Apple, Tesla, whatever you choose. Looks impressive, Rabbit said. It does, said Beaver, until it doesn't. Then he swept his paw across the full forest. Now this is an ETF. ETF explained simply. Rabbit squinted. ETF, what does that even mean? Owl stepped forward. Exchange Traded Fund, but don't let the name scare you. An ETF is simply a basket that holds many investments inside it, stocks, bonds, or both, all bundled into one. Beaver picked up a handful of leaves from different trees. Instead of owning one tree and hoping it survives, you own a small piece of every tree in the forest. Rabbit looked out at the hundreds of swaying trees. So if one crashes down, Beaver smiled, the rest of the forest keeps growing. The scale of it. Owl drew in the dirt. Some ETFs track 500 companies, others track thousands, entire economies. Rabbit's jaw dropped. Thousands of companies in one purchase? One purchase, one fund, instant ownership across the whole forest. Rabbit slowly nodded. So instead of spending my life trying to guess which single tree grows tallest, I just own all of them. Owl smiled. Now you're thinking like an investor. 3 reasons investors love ETFs. Beaver held up his paw. There are 3 powerful reasons long-term investors choose ETFs over individual stocks. 1. Diversification. Your money spreads across hundreds of companies automatically. One failure can't sink you. 2. Simplicity. No need to research thousands of stocks. One fund does the heavy lifting for you. 3. Lower cost. Most ETFs charge very low fees compared to actively managed funds, meaning more of your money stays invested and keeps growing. Rabbit's ears stood tall. That actually sounds really smart. Bear enters. Suddenly, Bear crashed through the bushes, branches snapping, leaves flying. I heard investing talk, Bear boomed, puffing out his chest. I don't need ETFs. I pick my own trees. I find the winners myself. Rabbit whispered to Beaver. Does Bear strategy work? Beaver kept his voice low. Sometimes. Bear gets lucky sometimes. He finds a tree that shoots up overnight and feels like a genius. Owl added quietly. But study after study shows that most individual investors, even professionals, fail to consistently beat a diversified index over the long run. Bear was already gone, stomping off into the trees. Good luck, Bear, Beaver said softly. The big lesson. Owl flew to the highest branch, looking out over both clearings, the lone tree and the vast forest beyond. The goal of investing isn't to find the perfect tree before anyone else does. The goal is to build a forest strong enough to survive any storm and grow for decades. Beaver looked at Rabbit. ETFs let ordinary people do exactly that. No expertise required, no guessing, just steady, consistent growth across the whole market. Rabbit stood quietly for a moment, looking at the forest. Different trees, different shapes, all growing together. Rabbit said slowly, I came here wanting to find the best tree, but what I actually needed was the whole forest. Let's bring it all together. An ETF is a fund that holds many investments in one basket. Buying one ETF gives you ownership across hundreds or thousands of companies. ETFs offer diversification, simplicity, and low cost. Instead of betting on one tree, you grow the whole forest. Closing lesson. Owl gave his final word. The best investors aren't the ones who find the perfect tree. They're the ones patient enough to grow the whole forest, one season at a time. If you're starting your investing journey, don't try to find the perfect stock. Start building your financial forest. Subscribe to Beaver Invests and let's grow it together.